I like to ask people about things in the order that they happen. So if we go back in time a little bit, I mentioned you're a Heisman winner. You won your Heisman at Notre Dame, becoming the first wide receiver to win that award. And, obviously Notre Dame is such a famous and successful college football program. What was your time like there?
It was great, man. It was great. For the moment I got there, I knew that things were going to be different. Life was going to be different. I knew I would have a chance to have a good life. I didn't necessarily think it was going to be in football, to be honest with you. Really thought that I would walk away there from the university with a degree, go home, get me a good job, and start life. I mean, that was the plan for sure. And it took Lou Holtz and a couple others to convince me that there was life after Notre Dame as far as football goes. So a little weird conversation, but at the same time, it was a conversation that I'll never forget for sure.
Well, and that's awesome that things worked out so well. And I mean, Notre Dame is obviously a great academic school. So maybe you thought that you'd be translating that degree into something unrelated to football. But you then obviously when you got to the NFL after winning a Heisman, I mean, did you expect to have the same level of success, or did you kind of not know what to expect once you got into the pros?
Well, I really thought that I could make a living returning punts and kicks in the NFL. I thought I was born to do that. I thought I was smart enough to do it, tough enough to do it, had the speed, had the ability to do it. And my rookie year, I broke Gale Sayers' rookie all-purpose yardage deal. Um, record that stood until this year actually. But we're gonna have to put an asterisk by it because they're doing different things with the kickoff now that's forcing these guys to return kicks. So it's a little different, but yeah, I thought that I could return punts and kicks. I didn't know if I could play receiver because I had really never played receiver. I mean, even though I was called a receiver at Notre Dame, I was more like a running back who lined up in the slot. You know what I mean? And my senior year, when Terry Andreezy had got hurt, the first game of the year, they moved me to. We went to a wishbone offense, and that was a very unique situation to be in, being word number 81 and being in the backfield. But yeah, I think to answer your question, I got hurt my second year, and after that, the doctor told me that at most I had 5 years. He thought I had 3 years, but he thought my knee was not going to make it past 5 years. And so that's what I started. I started to plan for being out the game, when I was 26, 27 years old, because that's what I had been told. And woke up one day, I was 30, having my best year in the NFL, and felt like I had more good years ahead of me. And we just kept plodding away, man, trying to make this thing happen. And things turned out well.
And that's amazing. I mean, you mentioned, at Notre Dame initially you didn't expect to play in the NFL. Then you expected your NFL career to be shorter than it was because of the injury. So I guess you definitely beat the odds in a lot of ways. But also, there are some Heisman winners, who haven't been very good in the NFL. Not every Heisman winner goes on to have the pro success that you had. And what do you think are some of the main factors that cause some college stars to not translate that success to the NFL level?
Well, most of those guys who weren't successful, we're going to say, are guys who had great college careers doing what they did. And then when they got to the NFL, they were asked to do a totally different offense than what they had done before. And that adjustment was just too much for a lot of guys. So that's not happening these days. Now, what they do, and the reason why they're starting these guys so early, is because they're basically taking the offense that these guys had before and running that offense now. It's definitely the play calling and all that stuff. So, I got a good friend, Marcus Allen, who always says the Heisman Trophy is not a future predictor of NFL success. And that's a lot of truth to that, right? But I think these guys were being put in a really tough situation. You may have had a couple running backs who didn't do as well, but the majority of these guys are quarterbacks who were put in damnable situations as far as trying to, if you're the Heisman Trophy winner, you probably was a high draft pick, so that means you were going to a pretty bad football team and with a lot more problems than just a quarterback. And, so I think things happen, but, all these guys are doing great now and doing incredible things. Andre Ware, he's been a sports reporter for years, and Danny Werfel has one of the best foundations in America, so I think guys have taken what they've been given and really tried to make the best out of it.